thanks for that. All right, so if any of you have watched any number of our videos, from inside the goat barn, you see this ugly white trailer house in the background. That was here when we... Quiet, you! That was here when we bought the place. It is not in the greatest of living conditions, but this is our incubator. Be patient. As we approach springtime, I'll show you the ins and outs of our awesome incubator. And this is our feed storage. So we have, this is for pigs, and we keep it in that container. This is for chickens, for goats, and for the cow. This is all alfalfa. And we basically utilize this for storage. There's some plywood, keep it out of the rain, and our extra dog food there. Not the most glamorous of places, but keeps the big critters out of our food. Every now and then we get a mouse or two that comes in here and tears a bag open, but keeps raccoons and other critters out of our feed. And it allows us to store quite a bit of it. Oh yeah, and I forgot. This is an old spent upright freezer. It doesn't work anymore, but what we use it for, it seals up and keeps critters out, is things that like sunflower seeds. This is oats and wheat and our minerals. And this keeps mice out of that type of stuff. It's an open bag of sunflower seeds. They last a pretty long time, so we keep it sealed up. But just if you haven't thought of that yet, it's a good place for food storage. We actually also use, this is an enormous stand-up freezer that broke, that we got for free because it was broken. But it is an amazing ice chest. Not the most convenient to move around, but if we harvest a big pig or a deer, we can fill the bottom of that with ice, throw a field-dressed carcass in there, and then put ice on top of it and allow it to age. So we don't have a walk-in cooler to hang. I mean, whatever, we're not a butcher or a processor, so this will allow us to age the meat before we process it. So, seems like a simple concept, but I didn't think of it until somebody else told me about it, so now I'm telling you about it. Then you can use that for practical purposes as well. This is one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? Oh yeah, all the buckets are pig food. If you're wondering, we soak it, ferment it, but what I'm talking about is the cooler. This is another idea. We don't use it anymore, but we made this side-by-side refrigerator a brooder. It's not in use right now, but when it lays down on its back, you can fill the bottom with wood chips, and we'll put our baby birds in there to grow up before they come outside. So obviously there's a time and a place to throw things away and just get rid of them, but there's also a time and a place to try to repurpose and reuse as much as possible. If you haven't noticed, quiet you, or if you didn't know, farming and homesteading is not the most profitable business to be in. So we try to do things on the cheap or on the free around here. And that's some of it right there. Just thought I'd share. This guy doesn't belong in here. Unfortunately, we have found tons of garbage on this property. The people that owned it before us, unfortunately, just left glass and metal out here. We spend many an hour filling our feed bags with glass and metal and hauling it off. So eventually, we'll have clean land again. At least that's the goal. Sometimes it seems like we're not making any progress at all, because good night, there's a lot of garbage out here. this section here and this section here, and there's 2 more up front. They're 16 feet wide by 40 feet long, and they will all be garden in the next few months. We're here in East Texas. Our last freeze will probably be in February. We should be able to start planting pretty heavily in March and April. And growing, depending on the year, growing all the way into October and sometimes November. But if you stick around, you'll see. My good friend Wes brought his tractor over, made us a giant pile of rubbish, tree trunks and stuff like that. We'll be burning that soon. If you like looking at fire, stay tuned. We're gonna feed Mr. Boris and Mrs. Sasha. They are hungry, hungry pigs. Not because they don't get fed on a regular basis, but because they're pigs. Ooh, that scared me. The electric fence works. Miss Sasha, for those of you that feel sorry for her right now, she knows that fence is there, and she does that every single day. I'm not sure why, but she lets me know that the fence works. This is why they stay in. So part of the daily tasks are to find stuff like this that are shorting out our electric fence, or potentially just pushing it to the ground, because these pigs eventually will climb over it. Oh yeah, and look at this. This piece of the fence is about to completely fall over, and then our pigs will just escape. They root around in the ground, as you can see here, and they push these rocks. Whoa, Rosie, hey! Back up, lady. Back up, lady. Anyways, they push these rocks up the fence. These girls are hungry. I'm gonna get them fed and stop talking. All right, checking on our onion garden.
Yep.
How they doing?
Oh, they're huge. Yeah. They're very weedy. I need to get in here. And...
We definitely let the weeds get after them, but these are...
They look beautiful.
Yeah, they're looking good.
Yep. They're deep, which is good. It's time to start harvesting the tops. Bringing those in the house and adding them to eggs. So green. This little patch just makes my heart so happy. In
the dead of winter, the onions.
Yeah.
Look good.
Well, this makes me happy.
Wait, say that again.
This makes me happy.
Dirt on your hands.
I like it.
So I was gonna get you a little video of this thing building, the small fire building into a big fire. Maybe a little time lapse. Yeah, it didn't quite work that way.
Holy moly! What in the world did you do?
There was a boat in there, lots of wood, and I stuffed our burnable trash bag in there and some of the wrapping paper from Christmas, and good Lord, did it take off.
Wow.
This is enormous. Bigger than you expected? Yeah. That's a big fire.
Yeah, that's a little out of
hot
control.
Fire. So we want to apologize in advance. We were discussing the repetitiveness of how we keep saying we're antsy about springtime and we can't wait for springtime, and we both have made videos at separate times saying the exact same thing without planning it.
Within like 48 hours of each other. Oh, I miss green stuff.
Because the reality is winter in Texas is short-lived. It gets cold enough to kill everything, and then springtime shows up, and we know what's coming. As a matter of fact, what we're walking past right now, this hideousness, in a few, dare I say, I'll say weeks, but yeah, anyways, it'll all be blackberries. It'll all be green and red berries before they ripen, and blackberries once they ripen. And we're just looking forward to it. So right now we're just taking a walk through the piney woods here. We had an area that was covered up in briars, tilled up, and we planted a bunch of seed, so we want to go see what that looks like after it rained. And yeah, cover crop. We're just trying to take a walk and check it out because it's been rainy and gloomy lately, and it's not
super gloomy still.
Well, but it's nice. The temperature is nice. It's not super humid right now, and we're just trying to take a little walk.
It smells like earth. It
Yeah.
smells good. We miss the smell of dirt, as weird as that is. Whatever. There's something about it. I read somewhere one time that spending 5 minutes with your hands in the dirt, like gardening or whatever, was the equivalent of a double dose of Prozac.
Wowzers.
So
We're not advocating the use of Prozac by any means.
no, but I am advocating go stick your hands in the dirt for 5 minutes and
Amen.
plant something, or I don't even know.
Play in the dirt.
Yep, it's good for your soul.
There you go.
At least-
Okay, so we are in the clearing. I actually set up an old, what do you call this? Like a play set. We'll turn it into a deer blind. But this field has been tilled, and we put some winter wheat, some oats, and some sunflower seeds out here. The winter wheat will take now, and the other stuff will come up in the springtime. But it used to be really ugly. Now it's looking green and pretty. What do you think? You like it?
I like that we have open space
Yeah, open space and green stuff.
and green stuff, and I like that this will be a good hunting spot potentially.
Yeah, there's lots of traffic through here.
It's just nice to know that enough stuff grew here, that the soil's fertile enough to grow stuff. We don't have to compete so much like with the clay and all the
Pine trees.
acidity of the pine trees and whatnot. So long as we can keep a handle on it and keep it from getting 12 feet tall again, then, because if you look around, this is what it always looked like, all of this crazy over here, and it's kind of hard to manage. But so long as we can keep it short, we can run chickens through here and pigs through here and goats through here, and you know, they'll do their job and eat all the blackberry brambles, because this was not ever a patch we could pick. So we're gonna go check on a very pregnant goat and head back up to the house. And maybe if y'all are super lucky, we'll make some salted caramels. We'll see.